All right, let's dive into attitude today.
Yeah.
You've given us some fascinating personal stories and some really insightful expert analysis,
Yeah.
and we're going to unpack
Yep.
how attitude shapes us as
Yeah.
individuals and how it can make or break us as leaders.
Yeah, it's fascinating how often we underestimate the influence of attitude.
Right.
It's not just about feeling good.
Yeah.
It's a driving force
Right.
behind success
Mm.
in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
We see this play out in sports,
Right.
in business relationships, even personal well-being.
Absolutely. I think we all have those moments where we look back and realize, wow,
Yeah.
my attitude really impacted things back then. I
Wow.
know I do.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've got a story about my high school basketball team
Oh,
that illustrates this perfectly.
okay.
We had talent.
Yeah.
I mean, almost everyone on the team could dunk,
Oh, wow.
but man, did we have some bad attitudes.
Oh, I can only imagine. High school basketball can be intense.
It was juniors against seniors.
Oh.
Pure selfishness.
Oh, wow.
And absolutely no one willing to admit when they messed up.
Oh.
You name the toxic trait, we had it.
Those are some classic ingredients for disaster.
And that's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
A totally mediocre season.
Yeah?
We were nowhere near reaching our championship potential.
Mm.
Talk about a painful lesson
Yeah.
in how rotten attitudes can completely ruin a team, no
Right.
matter how skilled the players.
Yeah.
And you know what?
What?
I was definitely one of the bad apples,
Race?
stirring the pot in all the wrong ways.
Oh.
Ugh, some memories are best left buried.
Well, it sounds like you learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't the most enjoyable experience at the time.
Right.
And this idea that talent alone isn't enough is something that Dennis Waitley,
Yeah.
author of The Winner's Edge, talks about.
Yeah.
He argues that the real difference maker, what he calls the winner's edge, is actually attitude, not aptitude.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And it's not just about individual attitudes, right?
Right.
They have this incredible ripple effect. They
Right.
can lift up or tear down an entire team.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a math equation.
Yeah.
Great talent
Mm-hmm.
plus rotten attitudes
Yeah.
equals a bad team.
Right.
But when you have great talent plus
Murder.
good attitudes,
Yeah.
that's how magic happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting here is that attitudes aren't static.
Right.
They're contagious.
Okay.
You know, like the story of Roger Bannister
Right.
breaking the 4-minute mile.
Mm-hmm.
Before him, people thought it was physically impossible.
Right.
But once he did it,
Yeah.
suddenly other runners started believing it was possible too.
Right.
Then dozens, then hundreds of runners followed suit.
Yeah.
It's as if his belief system, his attitude,
Right.
spread like wildfire.
So it's like we want to surround ourselves with those Bannister types, right?
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
not always that simple.
Right.
You see, negative attitudes can spread even faster than positive ones.
Oh, really?
It's like what psychologists call social contagion.
Okay.
Our brains are wired to mirror the behaviors and attitudes of those around us,
Right.
especially when it comes to negative emotions.
Okay.
Think about it like this.
Yeah.
We have these things called mirror neurons in our brains,
Okay.
and they fire not only when we perform an action,
Mm-hmm.
but also when we observe someone else doing it.
Oh, interesting.
So when we're exposed to negativity,
Yeah.
it can trigger a similar response in our own brains.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it's also a little unsettling.
Right.
You're telling me negativity is basically contagious.
In a way, yes.
Wow.
Think about the classic story of the food poisoning outbreak
Right, yeah.
at the football game.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out to be just some bad potato salad.
Right.
But once the announcement was made,
Yeah.
hundreds of people started complaining of symptoms.
Right.
The power of suggestion
Yeah.
combined with our innate tendency to mirror the reactions of others
Mm-hmm.
amplified the situation.
Wow.
That's how quickly a negative mindset can take hold,
Right.
even when the initial cause is relatively minor.
That's a pretty powerful example of how social cues
Mhm.
and our brain's wiring can really shape things.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've seen how attitudes can spread,
right.
but how do we even form these attitudes in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Is it nature or nurture?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's actually a fascinating interplay of both.
Okay.
We're all born with our own inherent personalities,
Right.
different temperaments.
Yeah.
Some call them predispositions.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are naturally more outgoing, others more introverted.
Right.
This base temperament definitely plays a role
Yeah.
in how we approach the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the whole story.
Right.
The environment,
Yeah.
particularly our early childhood experiences,
Yeah.
have a huge impact on shaping our beliefs.
Right.
which in turn shape our attitudes.
So you're saying the messages we receive, the
Yeah.
experiences we have early on,
Exactly.
those really lay the foundation for how we view things later in life.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And the thing is, both positive and negative experiences
Right.
can have a lasting impact.
Right.
Do you remember that story you showed about the pastor
Oh, yeah.
who was deeply hurt
Yeah.
by being laughed at for mispronouncing a word as a child?
Oh, yeah. That one really stuck with me.
Yeah.
That experience stayed with him for decades
Right.
and even shaped how he approached public speaking.
Wow.
It's incredible how impactful early experiences can be, especially when it comes to adults,
Yeah.
whether they offer acceptance and affirmation or
Yeah.
criticism and ridicule.
Yeah.
Words really do matter.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And as we grow older, other factors come into play. Our self-image, the influence of our peers, even our physical appearance
Yeah.
and how we perceive it.
Right.
All of these things contribute to our overall outlook on life.
So it sounds like a lot goes into shaping our attitudes.
It does.
This complex mix of nature and nurture.
Right.
But here's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Can we actually change our attitudes? Or are we stuck with what we've developed over time?
The good news is we are not stuck.
Okay.
We have the power to change,
Right.
but it's not a passive process.
Okay.
It requires a conscious choice and a willingness to put in the effort.
So it's not like we can just snap our fingers.
I wish it were that easy,
Right.
but it's more about recognizing that we have a choice.
Yeah.
Think about those signs you see in northern Canada,
Okay.
the ones warning drivers to choose their route carefully
Oh, yeah.
because they'll be in it for the next 20 miles.
Right.
We may not be able to change the road,
Yeah.
but we can choose a different path.
Right.
We can steer ourselves in a new direction.
Okay, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It really paints a clear picture.
Right.
So let's get practical.
Okay.
Where do we even begin if we want to shift our attitude?
Right.
What are some tangible steps we can take?
Yeah. Welcome back.
Hey.
I hope you've had a chance to reflect on that question
Yeah.
about where you might be stuck in a negative attitude rut.
Right.
Something we all grapple with from time to time.
You know, it's funny. As I was thinking about that,
Yeah.
I realized a lot of the times I feel stuck, it's because I'm viewing a challenge
Right.
as some sort of insurmountable roadblock
Yeah.
instead of a stepping stone.
Right.
It's all about perspective, right?
It is.
So how do we actually reframe obstacles as opportunities?
Well, it starts with understanding that adversity, believe it or not,
Okay.
has its benefits. It may sound counterintuitive,
Right.
but facing challenges can actually make us stronger
Yeah.
and more resilient.
Okay, but how can something negative be beneficial? I think a lot of us are wired to avoid difficult situations whenever possible.
Think about it this way. Adversity builds resilience.
Okay.
There was a fascinating study published in Time magazine a while back,
Yeah.
and it found that individuals who had experienced multiple job losses
Oh, wow.
were actually more optimistic than those who had faced fewer setbacks.
Interesting.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they'd learned how to bounce back.
Okay.
They'd developed coping mechanisms,
Right.
and they had the confidence that they could navigate tough situations.
So it's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We learn and grow from our experiences, even the difficult ones.
It's true.
And adversity also forces us to develop maturity.
That's right.
The playwright William Saroyan said, we get very little wisdom from success. You know, it's those failures, those moments of struggle that teach us the really valuable lessons.
That's right.
The ones that force us to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And I've noticed that facing a challenge head on, even if you don't succeed at first, can do wonders for your self-image.
Right?
It's like my daughter when she was selling those candy bars for school.
Oh, yeah.
At first, she was terrified of knocking on doors.
Oh.
But once she realized she could do it, she was eager to take on more.
That's great.
It built her confidence in a way that just observing others couldn't.
That's a perfect illustration.
Yeah.
It's about pushing past those self-imposed limitations
Right.
and proving to ourselves that we are capable of more than we think.
Right. And remember, overcoming adversity
Yes.
can push us to achieve beyond what we initially thought was possible.
Absolutely.
Think about that trapeze artist
Okay.
who had to learn to fall successfully.
Right.
Once he knew the net would catch him,
Yeah.
He could focus on reaching for greater heights, attempting more daring feats.
That's a great analogy.
So in a way, failing becomes a catalyst for growth, not a reason to give up.
Right.
It's about shifting our perspective and seeing setbacks as stepping stones.
Precisely.
And here's where it gets even more exciting.
Okay.
Adversity can actually lead to unexpected benefits.
That's right.
You know the story of Bernie Marcus, the founder of Home Depot?
Yeah.
He got fired from his job, which at the time felt like a major setback.
Right.
But that event actually spurred him to create one of the most successful retail businesses in the world.
That's right.
And there are so many other examples like that.
Yeah.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes Ivory Soap, both born out of mistakes or unexpected circumstances.
Yeah, accidents.
So those failures weren't failures at all. They were detours that led to even greater success.
Right.
I love how adversity can push us in directions we never would have imagined.
It's amazing.
It's a powerful reminder that innovation often arises from adversity.
Absolutely.
When we're forced to adapt, to find new solutions, to think outside the box,
right.
That's when creativity flourishes.
That's when the magic happens.
There's even a professor who teaches a course called Failure 101.
Wow.
Where he encourages students to embrace failure as a necessary part of the learning process.
That's great.
Okay, so we're starting to see obstacles in a new light.
Right.
But how do we actually cultivate that attitude shift in ourselves? How do we develop the ability to not just survive challenges, but to thrive in the face of them?
It goes back to those fundamental choices we talked about earlier. Choosing faith over fear.
Right.
Having a clear purpose. Breaking down those big goals into daily actions. And surrounding ourselves with people who lift us up, not drag us down.
And being willing to change, right? Because it's not just about knowing these principles. It's about putting them into practice day after day, even when it's hard.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's about training ourselves to see setbacks, not as defeats, but as opportunities for growth, as valuable feedback that can help us course correct. And move forward with more wisdom and resilience.
Right. Think about that quarterback who ran down the opponent who had just intercepted the ball.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't just running to make a tackle. He was running for his life.
He was.
The life of the team, the game, the entire season.
Wow.
That's the kind of determination that comes from a powerful why.
Exactly.
So it's like when the stakes are high, our motivation to overcome obstacles increases.
That's right.
We dig deep and find that extra gear we didn't even know we had.
Exactly.
And sometimes a little discomfort can be a good thing.
That's true.
It's those moments when we're forced to dig deep, to tap into our reserves of strength and resilience, that we discover what we're truly capable of.
That's right.
As long as we have comfortable options, we're less likely to push ourselves to grow.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired.
Good.
But I have to admit, sometimes those negative thoughts just creep in, especially when things aren't going my way.
Right.
How do we combat that inner critic, that voice that tells us we can't do it?
That's where mindfulness comes in.
Okay.
It's about becoming aware of those negative thought patterns as they arise.
Right.
And making a conscious choice to replace them with more positive and empowering thoughts.
So it's like catching yourself in the act of thinking, I can't do this, and immediately flipping the script to, I will find a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about actively shaping our inner dialogue.
Right.
Because those thoughts have a powerful impact on our actions and ultimately our results.
Right. And remember, what we focus on expands.
That's right.
If we dwell on the negative, that's what we'll see more of.
Exactly.
But if we choose to focus on the possibilities, that's what will grow.
It is.
It's like that classic story of the two shoe salesmen who were sent to an island where no one wore shoes.
Right.
One saw it as a problem, a dead end, while the other saw it as a massive opportunity, a blank canvas.
That's a perfect example.
That's right.
It all comes down to perspective.
And I think choosing to adopt an attitude of gratitude can be incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
When we take the time to appreciate what we have, even amidst challenges, it can shift our entire mindset.
Gratitude is a powerful antidote to negativity.
Right.
It helps us reframe our experiences and focus on what's truly important.
Okay. I'm starting to see how all of these pieces fit together.
Good.
We shape our attitude, and then our attitude shapes our reality.
Precisely.
And the exciting part is we have the power to make that reality a positive and fulfilling one, even amidst the inevitable obstacles.
Absolutely.
This has been so insightful. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But there's still so much more to explore. Before we wrap up part 2, I want to leave our listeners with another thought-provoking question to ponder.
Right.
What's one obstacle you're currently facing that, if viewed from a different perspective, could actually become a stepping stone to something amazing?
Right.
Keep that in mind as we move into part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll explore how attitude shapes not only our personal lives, but also our success as leaders.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the power of attitude.
Yeah.
We've explored how attitude shapes us as individuals, how it impacts our ability to overcome obstacles.
Right.
And now we're stepping into the arena of leadership.
Okay.
Because, let's face it, a leader's attitude can make or break an entire team, an organization, even a movement.
A leader's attitude is absolutely critical.
Right.
Not only for their own success, but for the success of everyone they lead. It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
The attitude at the top influences the entire culture of an organization. It's like that quote from Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal.
Right.
Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude.
It's true.
Pretty powerful stuff.
It really is.
And as we've been discussing, attitudes are contagious. So a leader's attitude sets the tone, the energy, the overall vibe for the whole team.
Right.
If the leader is pessimistic, fearful, or constantly focusing on the negative, guess what?
Uh-oh.
That's going to spread like wildfire.
It is.
Okay, so let's say you're a leader.
Okay.
And you've had a moment of self-awareness. You realize maybe you've been stuck in a bit of a negative rut yourself.
Yeah.
Focusing on problems instead of solutions.
Right.
Letting fear drive your decisions.
Yeah.
How do you start shifting that attitude to become a more effective, more inspiring leader?
It all goes back to those fundamental choices we discussed earlier.
Right.
It starts with a willingness to change, with making a conscious decision to cultivate a more positive, proactive outlook.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose your attitude, even when circumstances are challenging.
And remembering that faith is stronger than fear, right? Leaders need to project confidence, especially when navigating uncertainty.
It's true.
People are looking to them for guidance, for reassurance.
And true confidence comes from having a clear purpose.
Okay.
A compelling vision.
Right.
That you can rally your team around.
Yeah.
When you know your why, your reason for doing what you do, it gives you an unshakable foundation, even when things get tough.
It's like that story in the Bible about the elder brother in the parable of the prodigal son.
Right.
He was outwardly doing all the right things, but his heart wasn't in it.
Yeah.
He was resentful, judgmental.
Right.
And in the end, it was his negative attitude that separated him from the joy in the celebration.
That's a powerful reminder that a leader's attitude needs to be genuine.
Right.
It needs to be rooted in a desire to serve, to empower others, to make a positive impact. It's not about control, it's about contribution.
So it's not just about what you do as a leader, it's about why you do it.
Exactly.
Your motives matter.
And that brings us to another crucial point.
Okay.
How a leader treats their people.
Yeah.
Remember that saying? People don't care how much you know.
Oh, yeah.
Until they know how much you care.
That's so true.
It's so true.
Leadership is about building relationships.
Yeah.
Creating a culture of trust and respect.
It's about making people feel seen, heard, and valued.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of self-awareness, choosing faith over fear, having a clear purpose, and treating your people well.
Yeah.
What are some other key attributes of a leader with a winning attitude? What sets them apart?
Well, one thing you'll notice about great leaders is that they are incredibly adaptable. They embrace change, seeing it as an opportunity for growth and innovation, not as a threat. They're willing to pivot, to adjust their course, to experiment and learn along the way.
So instead of getting stuck in those ruts, they're willing to swerve and create a new path.
They're also incredibly resilient.
Okay.
They don't let setbacks derail them. They learn from their mistakes and come back stronger, wiser, more determined.
It's like those entrepreneurs who faced countless rejections. Before finally finding success. Their unwavering belief in their vision their ability to bounce back from setbacks.
Exactly.
That's what ultimately carried them through.
And great leaders understand the importance of celebrating those small wins along the way.
Oh, yeah.
They create a culture of positivity, recognizing and appreciating the efforts of their team, no matter how big or small.
So it's not just about achieving the grand finale. It's about finding joy in the journey.
In the process of growth and progress, it's about celebrating milestones along the way.
Exactly.
And great leaders are lifelong learners.
They are.
They're constantly seeking new knowledge, new insights, new perspectives.
Yeah.
They understand that the best leaders are humble enough to admit they don't have all the answers.
That's right.
And are always open to learning and growing.
Yeah. Which brings us back to the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yes.
Positive, growth-minded individuals.
Right.
Who challenge you and inspire you to be your best.
It's like that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
That's such a powerful reminder.
That is.
A leader's attitude is definitely influenced by the company they keep.
Right.
Choose your inner circle wisely. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who support your growth, and who challenge you to think bigger and bolder.
So to wrap things up, it sounds like cultivating a winning attitude as a leader
is about embracing the journey.
Yes.
Focusing on the positive, empowering your team, and never stopping learning and growing.
Absolutely.
It's a lifelong commitment, but the rewards are immeasurable.
They are.
Both for the leader and for everyone they lead.
And remember, obstacles are inevitable.
Right.
But they don't have to define you.
Yeah.
In fact, they can be the catalyst for even greater success.
That's right.
So as you navigate the challenges of leadership, keep this in mind. Your attitude is your most powerful asset.
Right.
Choose it wisely.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the power of attitude.
It has been.
I hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to go out there and make a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.